Hang on for a quick second. Hang on for a quick second. Hang on for a quick second. Showing the... Welcome.
Hi.
I wanted to talk about... So Andromeda Flame is going to join us for a minute. She's a wonderful sister of mine, and she's amazing. She's in a twin ray union, and I'm a twin ray. We kind of we graduated, which was a shock to me. Thank God. I never thought it would happen. And we wanted to talk about how many twin coaches are telling people, and this is something I came up with a client today, but it's been coming up with a few clients. And the premise is that if it's your twin male masculine or whatever, not to educate them, like not to mentor them, not to give them books that will awaken them into the ascension path. Nothing. Just let them go. Just let them figure it out. They're not your mother. You're not their mother. Whatever. However, it was said, right? And hello, beautiful Letty, and hi Tracy. Thanks for being here, Letty. So I wanted you to jump on and explain to our group, our beautiful group of sisters mostly, and please join in the live. Please share the live. Tracy, share the live. All of you share the live. We really need to break it down, because this idea that twin flame coaches are telling you you're not their mother, you're not supposed to do anything. Well, I have a lot of issues with that, and there's a lot of moving parts to that, to making that choice of leaving your twin alone, backing out and going back in, and backing away and going back in. But I wanted to talk about that, Andromeda Flame. I wanted to talk about the responsibility of a twin to another twin to bring your twin to ascension through beautiful links, beautiful understandings, beautiful dialogues about brilliant people to awaken them, this, that, and the other. And I wanted to know if you could talk about that. And also, a lot of twin flame coaches, you know how I am, you know how I am, right? You know how crazy I get about how I'm hearing a lot of negative rhetoric that is actually damaging a lot of potential unions. Okay, so shoot, let me go ahead and jump in, please.
Yeah, so this idea that you have no responsibility for your twins' healing and ascension it's a total misunderstanding of what the bond and the connection is between twins. Yes, what one of Tony's sayings is, what you feed your twin. Yes. And of course, very often the feminine is leading in that healing journey. It's not about mothering them, okay, but it's about bringing them to the information. All right. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So you can supply them with the information so that they start to understand this a little bit better, so that they start to understand themselves and their healing needs, so that they can listen to incredible minds, incredible souls talk about things. Not necessarily, don't throw books about twin flames at them. That's not what I'm saying, right? But I'm saying books and interviews and things on Gaia.com that talk about spiritual growth, healing, about soul connections, about soul contracts, about concepts of reincarnation, about where humans come from, about where we all come from, all the things about starseeds, and it is a really beautiful thing to do for them. And I know from my experience, and I think you'll agree with this experience, Tony, is that when a masculine is awakening, they will hoover up this stuff. They will hoover up that knowledge. I gave my twin access to my Gaia, and he's busy watching stuff about the Anunnaki, okay? And it's helping them right? It's educating them. It's not controlling them, right? It's not shoving twin flame stuff down their throats,
Yeah.
right? Because that is one very easy way to make them run. Okay. But it's giving them books by, Michael Singer or Joe Dispenza, or talking about like religious texts, talking about the Gnostic Gospels. Both my twin and I have read the Gnostic Gospels. We've talked about it. Talking about meditation. Well, did you meditate today, and what did you see? What did you experience? And it's having these almost transcendental conversations that are beyond the mundane, beyond the, how was your day? What did you eat today? Right? Isn't it cold? So beyond the mundane, actually having these conversations about the soul's growth. It's very important for their ascension, but it's also incredibly bonding.
Exactly.
Incredibly bonding,
Can I jump in and say that this is very dangerous when you have coaches supposedly and content creators who are supposedly in the twin flame journey? I'm just going to call it out. Who say that don't do that. You're not their mother. Let them figure it out. They'll figure it out. Really? Do you really think that you would have figured yourself out without a lot of mentorship from different people? You stone to stone. You actually jump from a friend referred you to this person, and that person gave you books to read or a link to something that you had a massive awakening, and then you went to the next one. You were led from one mentor and teacher to another. Come on now. So, I mean, we all helped each other to this point, right? We've all learned from other good coaches, real coaches, not the shit that I'm seeing that are saying, "Oh, well, come on, you're not his mother. She just let him figure it out. Just leave him alone. He'll figure himself out." No, 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 they won't. No, they won't, because very few men are that powerful. Very few men are that self-aware. Very few. Okay, we have some amazing sacred masculines that are badasses out there. We know that. But no offense, you wouldn't be on this live if your man was a badass sacred masculine like what we're seeing out there on social media. Sorry for being blunt, but let's be real. So your twin most likely is definitely entrenched in 3D and all of that, what it means for that particular twin. Okay, I'm sorry. Because I need to be a little more. You're so soft. I just want to. I need to throw in some stones here because there's too many content creators damaging potential unions, in my opinion, and growth, ascension growth. You were saying.
I agree. The other thing is, they're saying things like, "You're not their mother." Well, okay, let's look at this from a soul perspective, right? You're their twin, right? You are the closest energetic match to them. You are the closest person to your twin in terms of the soul bond. Forget about what's happening on the 3D for a second. So it doesn't matter whether, somebody is their mother or somebody is their father. You are, you're essentially concurrent incarnations of the same soul, right? You don't get much closer than that. And the people who keep on saying crap like this, they don't understand the bond. They don't understand the journey. And let's talk about some of these people, right? Okay. There's some of these people who have barely even met their twins, right? Barely even met them. They've certainly never been in union. They have no experience of what it takes to get into union, of what it takes to maintain union, because the work does not stop when you get into union. Actually, the work increases when you get into union. Yeah. Okay? They have no concept of what it feels like to lie in the arms of your twin and talk about things that you have never spoken to and they have never spoken to anybody about before.
Exactly.
The nakedness and the honesty and the vulnerability and the oneness a lot of these people have never even made love to their twins. And that's the truth.
And that's the truth. And they're coaching.
And they're coaching. It's insulting, right? And
because how can you coach something? It's like me teaching you how to make a 3-layer chocolate cake, and all I've experienced is the egg and the flour. I haven't even gone to the chocolate. I haven't gone to the to other ingredients. I don't even have an oven. I've never baked a chocolate cake, but I'm going to give you a recipe that's half baked. So in a way, that's what's happening, and you have to go through. No offense, but you have to go through the whole nuance. You have to go through the union, the kiss, the separation, the dark night of the soul, the making love, the transcendental awakenings that happen, the telepathy, all of that before you can say. And then, and no offense, and I'm going to say this, and then you need to work with people who have actually coached people on other things, and they've basically segued themselves into twin flame. They went from being, say, a poet, or a therapist, or a lifestyle coach, or whatever, and now they're adding that to their toolbox. So they have the experience of coaching people. They've been doing it for years, and they're now in a twin flame. I can think of one person. I'm not even going to say their name because they're actually well known. They were a client. She deals with narcissistic. She's an expert in narcissism. She's coached on that. I would trust her to coach people on twin flame. First of all, she's a fucking therapist, for one thing. And she's been in a twin flame journey. And to be honest with you, she's decided to jump ship. That's probably why she won't coach. But if anyone could coach, it would probably be her. The only problem is she probably would have you all jump ship. And for some of you, that's not a bad idea. And for some of you, it is a bad idea. And so I feel that the level of people sprouting up and putting up a twin flame coach is actually sickening, dangerous, and greedy. It's greedy. You have to, and they have calandrias. You just book it. They don't even talk to you before they listen. If they're not willing to talk to you for 10 to 15 minutes before booking a session, red flag. Sorry, red flag. Even when you find a therapist, and you know I'm telling you the truth. If you call Psychology Today and you come up with 6 or 7 therapists you want to talk, they all give you a 10 to 20 minute free call. It's normal. They want to make sure that it's going to be a right fit for both parties, themselves on their practice, and for you, to benefit you. Am I correct?
No, you're completely correct. And again, we've talked about these creeps before, right? But Twin Flames Universe, right? They're coaching coaches, right? This is the caliber out there right now. Twin Flames Universe, right? Jeff and Shalea, who are, I am convinced that they are not twin flames.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Absolutely convinced they're not twin flames. They haven't been through any of the separation, any of the nonsense. Plus, their organization is deeply, deeply sinister, and they have done so much damage to twin flames in general, not just with their spurious teachings in inverted commas, but also the documentaries that have been done by them, which makes us all look insane. But they're coaching coaches, and their coaches are all over social media.
They're all over social media. I'm going to tell you about these coaches. Some of these coaches have approached me to interview me, and I wanted to do more research. I'll never be interviewed by, you're going to think I'm a snob. I will not be interviewed by a twin flame unless they've become so transcendental that they're doing their own. I'm not asking for them to be in union, to be honest with you. I'm asking them to have had all these experiences and then decide, you know what, my twin's so toxic, fuck it, I'm doing the rest of this journey on my own. I'll get interviewed by that. But I'm not going to get interviewed by someone who's ever been coached by Twin Flame Universe. I'm steering clear away. And a lot of them I've opened shop, and it's absolutely, I'm disgusted. The lack of integrity here. And we really need to have as many, healers that have integrity. For example, there are wonderful healers that are womb healers, WOMB, womb. And they are very humble people, and they're very they're true womb healers. They know what the hell they're doing, and they have, I'm going to call them the gifts, right? To heal remotely or face to face. But to me, it's like the reason I'm coming out of the gate like fighting is because I'm now having to repair. Okay. I'm spending like 20-30 minutes on what many of you have heard from previous coaches online or whatever. And now I have to literally rip apart the conversation. You understand? I literally have to, literally end these false ideas that they have based on rhetoric, based on people who are just not educated. In other words, before I can talk to you about being a brain surgeon, I can't do it from high school. I have to get my training, and in this case, training is living it. You have to live it, and not to mention you have to also experience it through your clients. And most of these people aren't. So now I'm spending like 20-30 minutes. I'm not joking when I say that, to try to re-educate clients on reality. Like, for example, you'll hear a lot about twin flames saying, oh, you can only have one twin flame because it's only one twin flame. Well, until you understand the concept of concurrent incarnations, until you understand what it means to be a multidimensional light being, then of course me or someone like me saying there's more than one twin flame is going to really trigger the fuck out of you. Meanwhile, you've got these little babies, these little Barbies who are talking about, yeah, you can't have, it's only one twin flame, and they are talking through a 3D vacuum. I'm sorry, I get so heated.
No, it's fair enough. Because a lot of what they say is crap. And those, twin flames universe lots say that everybody has a twin flame, and they don't, and they don't even mention twin rays. And actually, when people talk about twin rays, they get it completely wrong.
Oh my God! Talk about how
wrong.
The one that killed me was when you. I'm not going to mention who it is, but Andromeda was watching a live. I never watched twin talks because I go crazy. So they were talking about how twin rays never have sex. I was like, okay.
Hello, but yeah, I said, well, I actually commented, and it was ignored. But this idea that twin rays are not romantic, right? That twin rays are just buddies. And I can tell you the friendship side is incredible, right? Absolutely, right? But there's all the other stuff too. But the point is that they don't understand it. And they certainly don't understand it from a transcendental perspective. What they project onto their clients is their own trauma, their own experience, and very often their own bitterness.
Yeah, exactly.
And their own ego.
Exactly. That's why they'll say you're not their mother. That's a pissed off chick. I'm sorry. That's a pissed off chick who says, because that is downgrading the connection. It's like you're not their mother. You're just not there. Well, no one's asking you to be their mother. No one's asking you to iron their shirt and pack their lunchbox. Okay, what we're asking you to do is help your twin fucking ascend. That's a whole different conversation. You're not darting his stocks. You're not making him a little pudding for whatever. It's the concept, the way you have to realize, and this is funny me saying that. It's ironic actually. Me saying, listen to how they say it. You realize that I'm passionate and almost to the point of righteous anger. And the reason I am is because you guys are getting confused over fucking bullshit. There's nothing confusing. Learn what it is to be a soul, how we were made, learn how we can have concurrent incarnations, learn when twins were made, what it means, why we're having it. Most of the rhetoric about the perfection of twin flames, they're actually talking about twin rays, which I talked about in my last live, which you can see on my YouTube channel. It says twin flames versus twin ray. And they are talking. I spoke to you guys about Quora, Quora, who talked about this whole thing about the beauty and the connection and the perfection of the relationship between twin flames. And if that's not happening, then it's not a twin flame. Bullshit. That's twin rays they're talking about. And twin rays have done massive fucking spiritual work, massive purging for many incarnations to come in that clean. I again mentioned David Bowie and Iman, and I said before David Bowie could meet Iman, he had to get his shit together, but he had to go through massive stuff. He did all kinds of fuckery. He was bisexual, went through every drug you can imagine, did all kinds of shit, and then resettled into his masculine. I said that yesterday or whenever it was, the last live I did. And you have to understand that's twin ray. Okay, so yes, twin flames can be toxic as fuck. In fact, many of them are. And they're self-destructive and they're addicted to drugs. What did I just say? I said David Bowie went through that. He's a perfect example. He's the archetype of the sacred masculine who was broken and wounded, who was probably molested as a kid. I was talking to a client who was shocked at how many men are molested as children. That will fuck up your root chakra. I was talking to a client, and I talked to many clients about who their sacred or wounded masculines are talking about how, watching porn is normal. All men do it. No, actually, not all men do it. Sacred masculines, divine masculines don't do it. In fact, they know why not. They shouldn't do it. They know exactly why. If you ask a sacred masculine, why shouldn't I watch porn? As a man, if you really are a man and you really think this is normal, ask a man of integrity. Ask a man, what I would call a high value spiritual man. I don't mean money when I say high value. I mean spiritual value, integrity. Every man will tell you exactly why he would never touch porn. Okay. So my point to you is that all of these things that has made, and I'm not going to call them divine feminines who are coaching out there. They're broken, wounded feminines, and they are not rising above it. You'll notice that divine feminines, both twin flame feminines and twin rays, are not jealous. We were talking about that in Andromeda. They're not pissed off. They're not jealous. The reason why I'm pissed off is because I've seen too many sacred broken masculines who were blocked by their feminine twins and unaliven themselves in numbers that I still can't wrap my head around today. Because there were many coaches saying, oh yeah, just block him, just move on. He'll eventually figure out a way to. That advice is toxic advice. I'm sorry. You can go for it. Tell me what.
No, completely agree. I mean, there's a difference if your twin is so toxic that it's harming you. Okay, that's a different situation, and you need to break all contact to protect yourself, right? That's different. But this, if they're kind of messing around as wounded masculines do, right? They're going to mess around. All right, they're going to be. They're going to have toxic behaviors. They're going to have narcissistic traits. They're going to be frustrating as all hell, okay? But blocking them, remember, that's a 3D action. Exactly. Right? Just because you block them, it doesn't mean that you're out of chaser energy. It doesn't mean that you have transcended what you need to transcend. Right. All right? It's a very superficial, pretty puerile, action that's completely meaningless when it comes to your spiritual growth and the growth of your connection. Now, there are incredible souls who have decided that they're not going to be in union in this incarnation, right? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, as long as it's a decision based in integrity, right? Based on understanding yourself, your purpose, and your soul, right? And these are people who would have a valid voice, actually, on the journey. In fact, quite a useful voice, a hopeful voice, okay? But these coaches who are saying things like, you're not their mother, or, just block them, or ghost them, or ignore them, give them the energy they're giving you. No, absolutely not. Yeah. Part of your job as a divine feminine, right? And I say divine feminine very deliberately. Yes. Because if you're understanding what we're saying, you are a divine feminine. You've recognized your healing needs. You're doing the work,
Yeah.
right? You are a divine feminine. Your job is actually to lead your masculine into their divinity, into their divine masculine energy, so that there can be the synergy of the connection. And it is a synergistic connection. There is. I think you'd agree, Tony. You know, from experience, from seeing others, right? The protection of the masculine enhances the nurturing and the spiritual growth of the feminine, and together you grow together. You grow together. You help each other grow.
You have to.
Really important. Yeah.
A garden does not water itself. To create a great garden takes hundreds of years. That's number one. We know this, right? Some of the great gardens took a couple hundred years. A garden needs to be watered, my friends. That doesn't mean you harass your twin with information. Somebody asked me, how often should I contact my twin? Feel the energy. It's sometimes not appropriate. Sometimes you feel them digesting a very high vibrational conversation about, you know what I mean, or a link and a conversation, or a book that you've sent them on Audible or whatever, however you've sent it, and you've said, let's discuss this next week. Would you be open to discussing? You know, try to read as many chapters. I'm really excited to share with you. Let's talk about it. You know, I'm going to tell you something. I have to share this with you all in Andromeda. From the time we moved in together, okay, in 2014, we would listen to books on tape together. We would read out loud to each other, taking from esoteric books, not just, you know, the newspaper or the funnies. Why? Because we were curious to understand who we were, why we were here, and we wanted to understand what our connection was in the very early stages. I mean, he called that I was his high-level soulmate back in 2008 and sent me a book on Brian Weiss, written about soulmates, okay, that kept reincarnating. He was convinced already because he couldn't forget me, you know, whatever. And I couldn't forget him either. I never did. So my point is, we wanted to know not just about ourselves, but about what it meant for the world. What did it mean on a massive planetary scale? What did it mean on a moving forward? We dropped this body. Where are we going to go after this incarnation? We weren't limited on just this incarnation. We couldn't have been. And so this habit of watching Gaia together, all of these things, believe it or not, we watch Gaia all the time, constantly, and listen to books every morning. That was our thing. 6:30 in the morning, we'd start with books and listen while we were making breakfast or whatever, okay? At night, in the afternoon, because we were deep diving. These are habits that you develop in yourself and with your twin. And while you're in separation, meaning you're not physically together, you start that habit. You begin that habit. How do we start the habit? We start sending each other books in the mail, but starting in 2008. Okay? And I was telling a client, and I'm going to let you jump in. The first book I ever sent my beloved, he sent me all the shit on Anunnaki back in 2008. Here's what I sent him. Anger by Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll never forget. He said, I was so fucking pissed at you. I threw the book in the hills. And then I went back and retrieved it, read the book, and started crying. My whole body was shaking. You're correct. You're right. Yeah, you're going to trigger your man. You're supposed to fucking trigger your man into an awakening. And that was the beginning of us awakening each other. Does any questions on that? Andromeda, I know you're doing that. You're fun.
It's interesting you said that, because when I spoke to my twin earlier this evening, because it's evening here. When I spoke to him earlier this evening, he said, you know, I like it when you say things to me. I like it when you push me to be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it when you tell me what I'm not doing, because it pushes me to be better. So, you know, and then I can't remember what we talked about. I think we talked about what we'd seen in our meditations. But you know, you've to be in the place where you can have these conversations with your twin, where you're talking about spiritual matters, or you're talking about existence on other planets, or you're talking about the past lives that you've had together. That's where you really start to nurture and grow and water the connection. Is when you're stepping away from what you are in these bodies. Exactly. And you're talking about what the next incarnation's going to be. Where is it going to be? Yep. What's it going to look like? How amazing is it going to be? And you talk about what's happened in past lives, or the dreams that you've had that you feel are oracle dreams, or they are remembrances. All of these conversations, and you can't have them with the muggles out there. No. I mean, I can have these conversations with Tony, and I can have these conversations with my twin, and it's going to be the same for all of you. There's a very small group of people that you can really have these incredibly healing conversations with. Because believe it or not, the act of reading a book, or the act of watching something on Gaia, for example, about the concept of being a multidimensional being, or lying there with your twin in their arms as they tell you something that's happened in the past that they've never discussed, they've never disclosed to anyone else. That's all part of your healing. Now, healing isn't just, sitting there with your eyes closed and your legs crossed, chanting Om, right? Healing is also real stuff. And if you don't heal yourself and guide your twin to their healing, because that's our job, ladies. That is our job. Whether you're doing it in the physical realm or not, okay?
Yeah. So when you get confused, when you get confused, ask yourself, who's confusing you? Because it's a clear road. There's nothing confusing. There's no winding bends here. Okay? It's a clear shot. Are there nuances to many twins? Yes, because we're not cookie cutter. Does that make sense? Can you hear me? But does that make sense? Oh my God, what's going on here? Why are you muted?
Because it echoes when I'm not. So I
just wanted to make sure. But so the bends, the nuances of the twin flame journey on the collective isn't complex in its truth, in its entirety. What's complex is your personal experience with your twin, because your karma is not my karma, and thank God for that. But with that said, but when you listen to rhetoric, like seriously, you've got, and this is why I may sometimes sound really fucking intense, because it's one of the reason I started my channel last year. I was listening. Okay, I was like, I can't. See, as long as we had Cassidy in Twin Flames in 1111, as long as we had Remy, as long as we had Ulf and Mel Brand and Twin Flame Universe, Twin Flame Revolution, all of these, as long as we had these people talking who actually really fucking knew their shit and had gone through massive evolution, okay, in their journeys to finally come into union with their people, okay, with their beautiful beloved, okay. As long as that was the conversation, I would have never stepped forward to start talking. I was doing my work as a psychic for a company. That was what I was doing. I had my own clients on the side. That was good. I was happy. But when I started seeing the bullshit out here back in the beginning, January of 2023, when I started really looking in YouTube, and I was seeing these people coming out of the woodworks. And then, of course, it's a small community of spiritualists, and people talk. And then I started realizing, holy shit, these people have never even kissed their twin. They've started a whole, these people have been with their twin maybe for 2 weeks and never again. And the person doesn't want to be with them. Okay. Had I been in union with my twin for 2 weeks at the age of 18, do you really, and don't forget my age. Let's say I was 25. And then we separated for 20. Do you really think I should be talking about the twin flame journey when I just started and I didn't go through the whole experience? I mean, is it now okay for me to suddenly be a twin flame expert when I met him for 2 weeks, we kissed, and then 27 years later, we're still just talking. We haven't seen each other or been with each other. We've never had sex. But this is what I'm listening to. I'm hearing coaches who are so no wonder you guys are confused. Because you're hearing shit from their own wounded place of being with various lovers, men, women, I don't care, whatever. And they're coming from a place of, yeah, it's not your responsibility. Well, if he would, he could. That's not the same trajectory and the vibrational frequency of a true twin flame journey in action, actively together. Meaning one's in Florida and one's in New York, but they're talking every day. For example, that's actively together. It's not what I'm seeing. And they're not coming clean and telling you, oh, we're not in union and I haven't seen them in like fucking 5 years. And the last time when we were together, it was like for 3 weeks. Do you realize that that's what's happening? That's scary because you're taking advice and you're listening to content. And yeah, I'm talking shit. I have to because I can't believe so many people are confused. And if you have to really get your knowledge, then I don't know, maybe go back to this live and listen to the names I just gave you. I'm not going to repeat them. I'm not typing it. I think the ones that I haven't mentioned, you should know. And it's funny because what's interesting is I was thinking, remember after my twin died, I was really out of the gate going, okay, I'm going to make a list like Yelp, good restaurant, bad restaurant, right? No different. And then I thought, should I really tell people who's bad? Well, I'm not here to bully people. I'm not here to destroy people's lives. I'm not here to like hurt them. But I'm also not here to see people literally block their twins, ghost their twins, ignore their twins, run from their twin because they've been advised to do so. So rather than me telling you who they are, I think you'll be able to figure it out because you'll see that the message that I'm giving and that these other people are giving, right? The ones that I really respect and admire, and I have followed them since 2013. I really admire them. They have integrity. And I'm not mentioning the ones that you're probably following. You get this? That should tell you something because if they're really good, I'll tell you about it. Believe me, because I'm not for everyone. I'm not supposed to be for everyone. That's without a doubt. But I want you to listen to common sense. And a lot of it is regurgitated because many of you are coming to me saying, well, because I'll say, who's saying that? And they'll say, well, a lot of people are saying that. A lot of who? Like, who's saying that? And they'll say, well, it's like a lot of the content creators. Now, I did get a client in South Africa who came to me and said, one person said that psychics can't tell if it's your twin flame because it should be in your heart chakra. Okay, guess what? She was shocked. You know why? Because I fucking agreed. That's right. It doesn't just take psychic boom, 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 like downloads. You know why? Because there are multiple moving parts and it's almost like a scientific thing. This is why I do numerology. I do numerology to see what the story is. I ask a lot of questions. I look at, there's all kinds of shit I'm doing. It's 1 hour. And the reason I said, yeah, she's correct is because some psychics are literally saying, oh yeah, it's a twin, like confetti. Yeah, it's a twin. Based on what? That you guys have a soul connection? I had a massive soul connection with 3 men in my life. Are they all twins? In my case, no, not at all. So my point to me expressing this to you and trying to share this with you is that this twin flame coach, and I told her, please send me the link, because if she's good, I'll fucking refer to you to, I'll share her information with you guys. But when she said that, and my client said, yeah, is that true? She thought I was going to fucking rip it apart. I was like, no, she's absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's why I do X, Y, and Z, because you can't just because psychics have their own wounds. It's a three. There's many of them are psychics, but many of them, you have to understand, some of them aren't even in a twin flame journey. Don't even know what the fuck that is. Number one. So to get a psychic to tell you about twin flames is akin to going to for brain surgery and asking a car mechanic to help you with that brain surgery. That's stupid. It's no one would do that. But what I will say is that most of the twin flame prognostication, like the proclamation you're a twin, believe it or not, are from psychics. Because I'll ask my client, how did you find out you're a twin flame, quote unquote, and they'll say, well, blah blah blah, and I'll say, well, is that person on a twin flame journey? No, they're not. So I don't know. If you've never seen the color blue, it's hard to proclaim it blue, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that? Because that's what's happening, Andromeda. So there's a process, right? And the process takes time.
Yeah, there's a process, and it's not just about psychic downloads or the cards, but it's also about the whole picture, right? The numerology. What numbers are you seeing? What synchronicities are you seeing? What were the circumstances of you meeting? All of these things, it is a jigsaw puzzle. It's not a simple matter of pulling out, oh, look, we've got the king and queen of cups, your twin flames. Because that's what's happening.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of bullshit. And then Tracy said they call it chasing. I'm going to tell you what chasing is. Calling again and again, stalking their social media, begging them to call you back, telling them you're a twin flame. That's chasing. And I did a whole video. Really, you guys take some time to look at my videos, because I've actually I'm not going to say I've done every aspect you could think of, because that's impossible, but I've done damn near every question you could have. Your question about chasing? No, there's chasing. I just discussed it. You look obsessed. You're kind of whacked. You're driving by their home. Let's be honest, okay? That's chasing. You're begging them to call you. You can't. Okay. Teaching is what we just discussed. Mentoring, teaching. That's not chasing, because you're not trying to get them in bed. You're not trying to be in union with them. Actually, you're not, because you have enough sense at being, transcendental, that they're not ready to be your lover yet. Or again, you're not going to have sex with them again for a while, because they need to grow up and match your step. It's not going to work. Okay. You've proven it time and time again when you've opened the door, had fabulous sex for the weekend, and then they ghost you once again. Right. So clearly, no, what you do is teaching is not chasing. Understand the difference. Teaching is saying, here's this book. Oh, well, I'm free for this weekend. Great. Yeah, we're going to listen to Gaia. We're going to do, yeah, that's right. Oh, I thought we could have some fun. No, baby. We're going to have fun, but not fun in bed. We're going to have fun with our hearts, with our souls. We're gonna take some hikes. I'll give you some non-sexual, sensuous massages. Yeah, you show them how to be your tantric lover, which is a complete lover as opposed to just sex. Does that make sense? And there are reasons behind that, but I want Andromeda to jump in. How do you want to answer that?
No, I just like an experience I had with my twin on Friday. We went to a gong bath together. Okay, and we lay there with each of our hands on each other's heart chakra. And it was beautiful. And then we talked about it for a long time afterwards, about what we saw, about what it felt like, about the vibration of the gong. But educating is not chasing. It is the opposite, because you're in a neutral transcendental energy.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You're not asking for anything of them. You're just bringing them the information.
Exactly.
And let me reiterate, okay? Let me repeat. You're not sending them books about twin flames.
Please. And so when people say it's chasing, if he would, he could. If he could, he would. This is great for when you have a lover that's a muggle, or a lover that is a soulmate. But the concept, and what's funny about twin flames is people will say, well, how do you know he's calling me back? Because he's your twin flame. Well, could it be 10 years from now? I'm like, not in this particular timeline, unless I say so in a reading. I had a few clients where I said, honestly, send them books. Don't fucking contact them at all, except send them books. Leave the door open, but don't go down that rabbit hole for 15, 20 years. You're not ready. You're fine. He's not ready. He's toxic as fuck. He needs to do some massive 180, and it's going to take 15, 20 years. And so I've actually called it out with clients, and because I don't want them to end a marriage that is a very happy actually marriage with a high level soulmate. I don't want them to end it for no offense, a twin flame who's broken, wounded, toxic. Hell no. I'm here to protect my clients. Fuck that. And there's some twin flame situations where unfortunately that is the reality and you have to say it. But in terms of the concept of chasing is the aforementioned of what I discussed about what chasing, you know what chasing looks like, ladies and gents, you know exactly what it looks like. Don't play games. You know that when you start sending books and sending links here and there, like don't be crazy. Don't start fucking slamming them with links and books every day. Come on, you know what to do, especially if you're not talking to them or you're not talking to them but once a week, or you're the one always making the phone calls. Quite often, if you're married, no kidding, a divine masculine is not going to be chasing a married woman. Why would he? Why would you want him to? I mean, right? And he doesn't want to be karmically involved in breaking up a marriage if it's still a marriage. Doesn't that make sense? So you guys have to look at your situation and ask yourself, what's my situation? How does this play out for me and my beloved? And how do we navigate this situation? Because in some cases, the marriages are very complicated. There are children, there's money, there's property, there's business, there's poverty, there's all kinds of situations. And you've got to use your, no offense, okay? You got to use your common sense. Or maybe sit in a meditation and ask your guides to guide you. And know that at some point timing will be perfectly divine, and the marriage, if it's supposed to end, will unravel on its own. You don't have to do anything at all. It'll be like a domino effect. It will end. Life in this experience is too short to be playing mind games and blocking. Exactly. Yes, chasing was the worst thing I ever did. Completely drained me. Chasing, got it. Any questions on that? Any questions at all or comments? Does that make sense? So when you're listening to, you got to understand, you are listening to massive levels of content creators who are parroting shit they heard from other content creators. Unless they're coming up with original concepts, which every name I mention was all creating original concepts. How? Well, their own personal experience, number one, and two, their clients. All of them were working with clients for years. So they've been on the twin flame journey for a year, or twin ray years. And then they were healers years. They were doing so the point is, that's why it was so effortless for them. And then they would share their experience, client experiences, their experience and client experience. And I've shied away from my own personal experiences for the most part, because I'm trying to keep it on a collective conversation. But here and there, I will share my stuff because, I think sometimes it's appropriate and it can help. Does that make sense? Anyway, what were you going to say? Oh, you're still blocked. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I'm going to have to pop off now.
Yes. Thank you for this.
So thank you.
Last words before you go, my love.
Last words. Just really use your discernment.
Yes.
With this, and I know that when you're in grief, when you're feeling despair, it can be difficult to use your discernment. People tell you comforting things, and you listen, right? But remember, a lot of these people are incredibly skilled at getting people to listen. They're incredibly skilled at telling people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If something doesn't sit right with you, you're being told to block, you're being told to ignore, you're being told not to educate, and you feel that in your body, listen to that. Because if you're really listening to yourself, you will hear that that is not the right advice. The right advice is, yes, do concentrate on your healing, on your own healing.
Yeah.
Don't deliberately heal so that you can get into union, right? Because then you're not healing.
Yeah.
You're chasing. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, work on your own healing. Work on your mission. Work on your abundance. Work on whatever you need to work on. Of course. Focus on yourself. Yes. But don't do that at the expense of a twin who you can hear asking for help.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
You've got telepathy,
Yeah.
right? You've got telepathy with your twin. Do what you are guided to do, not what you're told to do. Unless you're completely on the wrong track, right? And somebody who knows what they're talking about is saying, yeah, don't do that. And that's why I say, don't talk about twins with your twin.
Yeah.
Just don't talk about it. The amount of anti-twin propaganda there's been over the past year means that you bring that up and you're going to look insane.
Yeah.
Right? So don't even say that. And I mean, I had the same experience as Tony. My twin said to me very soon after we met, "You're my soulmate."
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they know, the masculines know,
Yeah,
that this is different. And you think the masculines aren't continually reminded of you? They are.
of course.
Right? They're just better at putting it in a box.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, and it's very hard to have confidence in the beginning. I get. Jesus. Yeah, it's a tough road, isn't it?
It's a really tough road. And wasn't there one person who was coaching Tony who had never even physically met their twin?
Oh, Jesus, that's another story. So yeah, the person's still doing it, and they offer readings on Etsy, and they had never physically met their twin, and they just now. My son has been reading tarot since he was 20. He's 24. He still will not go professional to this day because he takes this shit very seriously. I started reading tarot when I was 18. I've been doing it for decades. Now, not only has she never read tarot before, and this has happened with 5 other people I know in the spiritual community. So they all cracked open their tarot cards and they threw up the sign, open for business, and they're reading tarot. Tarot is not, it's not a pendulum. Pretty much anyone can crack open a pendulum and start pendulating, whatever, and do their thing. But I'm shocked because tarot is a skill set that is combined with being psychic, meaning clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, clair. You're a clair, okay? And that's when you can really wrangle with tarot. But tarot has these mysterious nuances, and there's a way to clarify questions that I get clients who literally do readings for themselves, and they'll ask me to help them clarify those readings. I kid you not. Tarot is, and yet these people have decided to open shop and start reading tarot. I kid you not. And they have the ball, and no offense, the nerve to charge more than more than me, and more than people who are on YouTube. And I'm talking about YouTube famous, meaning they have like 1.2 or 3 or 4 million viewers, followers, and they're charging 150, and these people are charging the same price. That takes a lot of kahunas. And they've been reading tarot on YouTube for decades. Some of them, decades, meaning 10, 15 years, right? They were on what was the other channel? They were doing tarot readings on Facebook. They were doing tarot readings on YouTube, on Instagram, on there were some other things. I forgot what it was called. It was for music. I forgot the website, but it's gone kaput. But and I could name some of these voices in tarot. That's insane to me. And that's massively, I mean, I'm not worried because I think, well, karma is going to hit him on the ass. But the problem is that what happens when you get a reading like that from someone who's not trained, and can you imagine tarot reading from a person who's never even kissed their twin, much less held hands, and went public about their twin and put their name out. So that the person could get bullied on the internet. Holy fuck, you don't put your twin out in the line of fire like that. You realize that most of you don't even know what my twin looks like, and most of you didn't even know what my twin looked like until he died. And still there are many pictures you'll never see. Because I'm not here to fucking prove anything. It's my private journey. However, I've got these people I was telling Andromeda, I was telling my son, I even told my son, fuck it, just do yes, no questions and make sure you put entertainment only for $5. $5. So it's definitely entertainment only. But he's so serious about the karma, he won't even do it. And I have him read for me. He's damn good, and he won't do it because he takes this really seriously. And these are grown-ass women who have decided, yeah, let me just go ahead and it's greed. It's actually greed. It's actually greed. One of them is doing Etsy. She does recordings. Okay. That means she has never heard your voice. She's never heard anything. You ask a question. It's a basic yes, no questions on pretty much. Is she giving good readings? Probably, but not all the nuances you need, because sometimes yes isn't just a yes. It's yes. And usually I'll say, yes, but. Yes, but if you stay on the course, this and this can continue happening. However, if this and this and this happens, then it'll turn into a no. You'll do a 180, you'll do a U-turn. There are nuances that most tarot readers don't know. There are tons of great tarot readers, don't get me wrong, tons, right? Andromeda, really good. But they wouldn't have the kahunas to do what these people, it took them a while to take on clients. They earned their stripes on YouTube. Am I correct? I mean, right, Andromeda?
Yeah, you are correct. Absolutely. And these people are really good, and they practice their art, Yeah. And then you've got people who are just, again, it's using the whole thing as a moneymaker.
It really is. And that's why I'm coming out blasting, because I think it's time. It's time. It's time for us to stop, because you guys are coming at me, and I'm wasting your time by having to re-educate you as to what this journey is all about. And that's unfair to you. You should be able, so if you can, if you decide to do a reading with me, if that's your thing, make sure you read a lot of my content before you book, so that you kind of, and maybe, I don't know, I mean, but I'll still make sure that you understand what your journey means and why it's happening and so forth. It doesn't bother me. It makes me sad that part of your journey has been riddled with confusion from people who are saying, really, really toxic shit and wrong shit based on their own pain. Anyway, and I know you have to rest. I know it's really late in my dear old London, but I'm going to now, if you guys want me to do it, I want to thank you so much, Andromeda. If you could say your last words, and then I'll go ahead and see if you guys want to do the Mind Power into the 21st Century tonight, or if you want to wait till tomorrow.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you all. Just use your discernment with this. Just understand, we're deliberately not naming names, because we don't, because this is not about bullying. This is not about shaming, and it's not about discrediting any individual. This is just telling you that there's so much false information out there.
Yeah.
Be really careful. Remember that your connection better than any coach.
Yeah.
All right. The answers are already within you. Yeah, a coach or a reader can really help you tease out the detail,
Yeah.
and can really help you clarify your own thoughts and feelings. And that's where it's useful.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody who's telling you to block or to do stupid things or to incorrectly define what is chasing and what is not, and they're creating a dependency in you,
Yeah.
because they're making you question your own thoughts, basically gaslighting you.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's somebody that you really need to not be listening to, because this journey is tough enough.
It's tough enough. And when you go through the dark night of the soul, remember, if many of you have gone through it, many of you have survived. Many of you did not. Many people did not survive. In other words, they're no longer on this planet, if you get my drift. So it is not a joke. You don't play with that kind of emotions. You cannot play. And that's why, believe it or not, I'm very careful in throwing out twin flames. And sometimes, I just don't. I have to ask a lot of questions. I do, and still, I need to have a bullseye. Typically for me, oh yeah, twin flame. But sometimes a client has to tell me other things that they're not realizing are massively important to the reading, and that's when I go, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, so that's what's going on. Does that make sense? Anyway, thank you, Andromeda. Have a great night. So I'm going to ask you all, would you like to do Mind Power into the 21st century, or would you like to continue tomorrow? Like start fresh tomorrow? Would you like to do that? And then what I can do tonight, right? Because I really, again, jumped on with Andromeda, and I really want to go into that conversation. And I remember when my twin passed, I'm having a human experience of grieving my twin. But ultimately, what I wanted to say to you is that I ultimately wanted to expose them. But then I thought, karma will take care of them. I'm not worried. I just need you guys to actually understand what you're going through. Does that make sense? No preferences, whatever you feel. All right, perfect. Well, I think I'm going to do some oracle readings for you tonight, and then we'll wrap it up. And then tomorrow we'll start on the new journey and continue our chapters. Have a good night, Tracy. Thank you again, Andromeda, for always being such a voice of reason. And let me go ahead and look at some oracle cards. And the first thing we're going to do is look at the first card I want to look at, actually, believe it or not, is Crystal Mandala, because I want to know what the crystal is for tonight. Okay, sound good to you guys? So give your angels, guides, and allies permission to guide you in this session. We're going to look at the Crystal Mandala from Alana Fairchild. We're going to see what crystal is being guided for you guys, and then we'll go from there, okay? All right. So give your angels, guides, and allies permission to guide you. And when you're ready, pick top, bottom, or middle. Top, bottom, or middle, okay? And then, of course, this live, I'll upload it to the YouTube channel tonight or as soon as I can. All right, here we go. Top, bottom, or middle. Majority wins this time. So we need to know what the crystal is for the night. Okay, middle. I'm getting a middle. Anyone else? Top. Okay, top wins. All right, so the card for today is 47. 47 this is insane because that's one of my twins' numbers. He's an 11, that's his life path. And 47 was the year he was born, 1947. And here comes 47. So he's present. He shows himself constantly with my clients and so forth. It's wild. Goddess Rhiannon, an Amazonite, which is a green stone. So Amazonite, integrity, Crystal Goddess 888. Crystal Goddess 888. Okay. Any questions, or does that number 888 relate to you in any way? Does that relate to you in any way? Because I'd love to hear that. If it relates to you, I'd love to hear that. So if 888 is coming on, if this is a significant number to you, let me know. Share it with the collective if you don't mind, because it's always good to see that. And bear with me, hang on. So let's see here. Oh, bloody hell. Hang on for a quick second. Let me look at this. I want to figure this out. I'm looking. Yeah, okay, so 888 is 20. That's interesting. So 888 is 24. 24 is 6. Okay? So if your life path number is 6, again, Goddess Rhiannon, and Amazoniate. Okay, I'm a Leo. Cool. Yes, very good. My life path is 8. Wow. Okay. I see it often. Beautiful. Okay, been on that number today. been seeing that number today. Ah, cool. All right, let's do it. You're funny, Yessie. Come on, you always win usually. All right, so let's look at 888. Let's look at 47, which is life path 11, which is 2. Okay. We've got 6. We've got 24, which is 6. We've got Leo. Thank you, Lion Energy. And let me read it. Okay, it's a very short page, and then we'll do another few oracle readings. So 47, Goddess Rhiannon, Amazonite, integrity. We bring you the empowerment of integrity. Integrity is the harmony between intentions, word, and actions. It is a discipline of love that creates inner security, confidence, and self-esteem. Integrity allows you to choose what promises you confidence and self-esteem according to the reason that have meaning for you. It empowers you to make decisions that feel authentic and honor your values. It allows you to say no without guilt or shame because you are not willing to compromise who you are to make another comfortable. Did you hear that? That's big. As you honor your words and actions, doing what you say you will do, when you say you will do it, you grow power and respect within. You can express your integrity absolutely, and yet with kindness and compassion. Integrity is the gift that will bring you a powerful peace of mind and loving self-respect. The more choice and freedom you have, the more integrity you will need. The more you feel aware of and compassionate towards the needs of others, the more integrity you will need. Integrity is your anchor to self. It is authenticity in expression. You experience your integrity as a feeling of rightness when you are in alignment with yourself, and a feeling of something being not quite right, uncomfortable, or even anxiety or anger inducing when you are being urged to break with your integrity to make another comfortable. That's a hell of a line. To break with your integrity to make another comfortable. Remember peer pressure in high school? You know what you need to do or not do. And when you step away from that, not honoring yourself, you will experience psychological, emotional, or even physical discomfort. You will not feel good about the choices you're making. That is your sign that you have integrity and that it is calling you back to your truths, Integrity is a sign of character developed over time. It exists when a person cares enough about their word and action, their intention, and the impact of their life on others that they are calling to make the sometimes tough calls and not always take the path that seems easiest. What does that mean, integrity? It means, so for example, people will say, well, that's normal. That's normal. You know what integrity is? Integrity is a man listening to locker room talk, and it makes him sick, and he calls all the men out. Integrity is a woman who listens to male bashing and says, look, okay, I understand this is a problem, but there are good men. You are mothers, you are sisters, you have fathers. Come on, right? Come on now. Integrity is doing something that is right, that is righteous and good, while no one is looking. That means you're not looking for people to admire your integrity. You do it whether or not you get respect for it or not, because you do it sometimes undercover. You don't do it to gain respect. You don't do it to be noticed. You do it because it's the right thing to do, even if it's against. So people who were helping during the German war, World War I, with children and women and hiding them and helping them escape. Quakers who were helping slaves escape their slave masters, right? That was integrity. Men that walked with suffragettes so that women could have the right to vote. That's integrity. You don't think they were being bashed by other men? So integrity can be uncomfortable and something goes against the grain of social mores, okay? All right, integrity doesn't make life harder, however. Well, she says that. It actually makes it more enjoyable. Why is it more enjoyable? Because even if you're doing something against the social mores, you feel good about yourself. You feel really good about yourself. That's why when the Christians were in the circuses in Rome, right? and they were being butchered by lions and gladiators. They stood there believing in Yeshua and Jesus, and they would not give up their belief. That's integrity. Didn't make them feel comfortable as they were being hurt, but as they dropped their bodies, it must have made them feel very, I don't know, just joyous that they had sacrificed themselves. And it actually is why the Romans many of them became Christians, watching that in the circus, if you guys remember. Every time you exercise your integrity in your choices, you'll feel good about yourself. Eventually, even if your mind goes into fear at saying no, for example. Did you hear that? Even though your mind goes into fear at saying no, for example, worrying that you've upset someone or missed out on an amazing opportunity that just didn't feel right, no matter how many ways you try to make it work, the good feeling you get from being in integrity will grow stronger. Right on, right on. It takes courage to have integrity. Do the right thing. For me, it is facing the challenges with empathy and strength, but that takes integrity. It will develop to the point where you cannot tolerate not being in integrity. I mean, yeah, that's what happened. Many people could not tolerate going against the grain. So when people were forced at point of sword to, swear allegiance to a person, a religious beliefs or whatever, they say, well, take me out because I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going against my belief. You better take me out. It can be scary, but for some people, it's important. Nothing is more important than their integrity. Nothing will be worth it. The contemporary expression for this is that you won't be willing to sell out or sell your soul to get something or someone. Now, how many people do we know in movie stardom, in singer-songwriters? Many of you, the irony is many of you, if I put $200 million on the table, and I said, you have to write sell your soul, whatever. You got to do this, that, and the other, or else I'm not going to give you that money. Many of you would not do it today. That's integrity. Why? That speaks heavy to my soul. No shit. Because you will not do it. You'll say $200 million in one lifetime, or I don't know, 200 million beautiful, karmic, blissful nectar for the rest of my incarnations as a soul. I choose infinity over this moment of being wealthy. That's integrity. It takes courage. Okay? What happens as you build your integrity muscles is that your ability to attract what you need actually grows. Yes, because when you go with your integrity, the universe, you might not have $200 million. You might be a person that gets $500,000 a year for the rest of your life. And you go, shit, it's not 200 million. My soul is clear. I'm happy as fuck. And guess what? This is wealth to me. This is enough. It's more than enough. I feel abundant. Live by integrity every day. Beautiful. Okay, instead of needing to chase after what you feel you need or want, you stand still and draw the right people and opportunities to you. You have less fear and more trust. You like who you are. Bad. That's awesome. That's badass. You like who you are and know that you are valuable, and any person or dream that asks you to abandon yourself is not worth the cost. Well, guess what? P. Diddy, this is perfect. We're looking at what is happening to our famous celebrities. Okay, let's call them celebrities. Let's not call them stars, because they're not stars. You're stars. All of you are stars. Those are celebrities. They're famous people. They are now realizing, was it worth the cost? Was it worth the cost to say yes to XYZ? Was it worth the cost? And the answer is always no. It isn't. If you're a good person, if you're an artist, it's never a yes. It's never a hell yes. This oracle brings you a message. If you have already made a decision based on integrity and are having second doubts, don't. You have done the right thing, and you will benefit more from this than you can realize, even if it seems to your mind that you have suffered a loss. Yeah, a lot. Because if you're a singer, okay, if you're a singer-songwriter, and somebody comes to you with a contract, and you know what's been going on. Look, we're not stupid, okay? We've been watching this for the last 5-6 years, where we're seeing the cost of being a massively famous singer. We see how weird they act, how weird they are. They're unrelatable. They're not even likable. And they're lost. And you know who I mean. Or they're in pain. They're destroyed by having made these by saying yes instead of screaming no and running out of that building or that meeting where all they have to do, do whatever the fuck I want. I own you. I own everything about you, and you'll get your $200 million. We'll wire it within half hour. No, bye. We're out of here. That's integrity. Okay? You have done the right thing, and you will benefit more than you realize, even if it seems in your mind that you have suffered a loss. If you are in a situation where you feel your integrity is being challenged or find yourself in such a place in the near future, trust yourself, be authentic. You have worked too hard and come too far to throw yourself away for anything or anyone. Hold on to you, stand firm in what is true to you. What did we see with Justin Bieber? We're seeing a person who is completely destroyed by him accepting something. And let's be fair to him. He was a kid. He was a child, right? He was a baby. But his parents threw him to the wolves, right? And he didn't know what to do because, but there are 15-year-olds out there, my son being one of them. I don't know. I brag. I know. I brag. But some of you were 15 and you would have said, oh hell no, I'd rather be homeless. Many of you would have chosen homelessness rather than that bullshit. And you know who you are, okay? Any questions or comments? Thank you, nailed it. He's all I was thinking of right now. My heart has stopped crying a long time ago. Not because I'm cold, but because I have cried for decades over what I've seen in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. You guys don't know this, but my father was in the industry in LA, in Italy, okay? And I know I've been there in close quarters. Cannes Film Festival, right? I've been there in Hollywood parties, in Hollywood, meaning in Malibu and stuff like that. I've seen the fuckery, and believe me when I tell you, it is not worth it. I've seen people give up the loves of their lives to stay within the lines, to do what they were told to do. I've seen it, okay? So, and I didn't know it was as monstrous and evil as it ended up being as I got older, okay? So, it's sad. So, integrity was your card. Stay true. Trust yourself. You're not... As a matter of fact, with all the manifestation, all the things that you're doing right now in the 21st century, right? We're talking about 2024, 2025, 2027. You are closer to being able to manifest magic than, say, a person who was being raised in the 70s, in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 80s, in the 90s, even in the early 2000s. Believe it or not. Because you are totally blasted with all kinds of knowledge, sacred knowledge, on how to manifest magic without ever selling your soul. Okay? So you can do this. Okay, so the next conversation, the next thing we're going to do is Mother Mary. Okay, we're going to do Mother Mary. And I want you to pick top, bottom, or middle. Top, bottom, or middle. And when you're ready, pick. Majority wins. Okay? LA is not fascinating to me anymore. I'm okay over here in Minnesota. Cool. Very cool. All right, bottom, middle. Hang on, let me see here. Middle, bottom, middle. Okay, it looks like middle, bottom, top. Oh, shit. Come on, guys. Give me one more. I'm trying to count it. Bottom, middle, top. Fuck. One more to break to break this. It's between, because I have two of each. So one more. Okay, middle. You got it. That's what I needed. Middle. Okay, so this is Our Lady of the Rose Crown. 40. 40, which is 4, the life path 4. 4 is the number of, I call it the number of volunteers. It's taking on karma. The number 4. All right, so bear with me while I find the page. Here it is. Okay, 40. Our Lady of the Rose Crown. You are my child and a royal divine being. I protect your spiritual deepening now as you descend further into the living divine heart and know all to be love. As the mysteries reveal themselves to you now, divine rapture awaits you. I shall keep you grounded and authentic, productive in the world that needs your light, even as I guide you into ecstatic communion with your holy nature. No matter where we think we are on our spiritual path, there is always somewhere and something deeper to experience. Our Lady of the Rose Crown appears when you are about to enter into another level of spiritual experience. This new level will be appropriate and healing for you, taking you naturally along in your spiritual progress. What might be suitable for another is unlikely to be exactly right for you. Our Lady watches over you with all-knowing tenderness and fear protection. Only what you will need will come to you. Only what you would need will come to you. You have been preparing for this time, quite possibly without realizing it consciously. It can take years of preparation to be ready for the next level of spiritual awakening. In order to be prepared, we might have to be challenged in a relationship that really stretches or breaks our heart. In that situation, we are learning to love more unconditionally, to either let the relationship go or stay with it, depending on what is right for us. We might experience weeks, months, or even years of not really knowing with any certainty if we are on the right path or living the life we're supposed to be living. In that continued crisis, we're learning how to remain present, to remain open, and to learn to trust even the absence of clarity. Or perhaps everything in our life seems to be upside down. A loved one is struggling, our own ability to resolve an issue that has troubled us deeply for some time and is causing us to feel almost unbearable anguish. No matter what the crisis or challenges, the way that we are learned to respond and grow through it, providing us with the development that we needed to be able to sustain the next level of divine experience. Love is the most powerful force in our universe. It is everything and reveals itself in unlimited ways. To encounter this love, to be open to it, ready to receive and to be changed, illuminated, irradiated by it, takes tremendous preparation. Spiritual energy and the presence of the Divine Mother is very real and extremely powerful. It is in some ways like the energy of the sun. It can give life, but equally it can be destructive if we do not acknowledge and manage the effect of its power upon us for good or ill. What is loving and uplifting at one phase of our journey will not necessarily be enough to lift us into the next phase of our journey. For the next phase, perhaps we need more challenge or more loving presence to leave behind what we thought we knew and how we thought we needed to live in order to allow more of the divine to live through us into the world. It's interesting how it correlates to integrity. In its own way, it's talking about being real and true and trusting divine guidance, not egoic guidance. Meaning, if you're doing something because of your ego and how people are going to see you and how people are going to give you a standing ovation, if that matters to you more than divine guidance, then you're gonna lose your footing and basically, fall off the cliff. Okay, let's continue. For this next phase, perhaps we need more challenge or more loving presence to leave behind what we thought we knew and how we thought we needed to live in order to allow more of the divine to live through us into the world. Our Lady of the Rose Crown comes to tell you that you have been in preparation and now the time is fast approaching or is already upon you, whereby you are opening to more divine realization. This is sacred and precious gift and is happening to perfect accordance with your own spiritual growth. She asks that you drop preconceived expectations of how this will manifest and simply be present to what is happening within you and your life now. A lot of people want to know exactly how it's going to happen. Like if you're manifesting something, right? Well, how is it going to play out? Well, I have all these problems and that's preventing me from experiencing what I want, right? Or what I hope to experience. So because I have all of these blocks, how are they going to be able to remove the blocks for me to experience what I'm praying to experience? And they're telling you it is none of your concern. How are you going to experience what you most want is none of your concern. The blocks that you think in a 3D mind are impossible to breach will magically dissolve into thin air and you'll go, what? You're like, the path is free? Okay, so no matter what you may initially think and what you are being shown right now is more of the divine and its mysterious, creative, funny, and unfathomable genius. Whether you can make sense of it or not, your heart and soul will be fed by it. strengthened, and empowered to more fully live your divine light and discover who you truly are, a magnificent royal child of the Divine Father and Mother. If you have been wondering about your spiritual growth or noticing that you judge others less and are able to hold compassion more easily, this oracle comes as a confirmation that yes, you have gone through a spiritual growth spurt, and also more is to come. If you've been feeling as though you have been tested spiritually with a reoccurring issue, this oracle comes with the guarantee of a divine success and congratulations as you are passing your spiritual tests and the Mother is in celebration with you. Soon you shall feel that you join in her delight. Beautiful. There's more. I'm going to tell you in a minute. It's very quick. But one of the downloads I got as I was reading this to you, and it's a little weird, but it's not, is you getting dried rose petals and mixing it into a tea. It could be an herb tea. My favorite way to drink roses in tea is with bergamot. So in other words, Earl Grey tea. Earl Grey tea, mix it with some rose petals, it will blow your mind with some good honey or sugar. Okay, so healing process and affirmation. A beautiful robed queen with a crown of roses descends from the stars, angels at her feet. She stands before you radiant. Your attention moves to the top of your head where she places a crown of fragrant roses. See if you can feel the weight of it on your head as the energetic space within your head opens up, expanding in all directions, clear and free. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and feel the crown of rose, beautiful fragrance of beautiful roses, the colors. Don't worry about the colors, or maybe you see the colors. And if you see the colors after we're done with this, share the colors of the roses that were shown to you. It's important, and I'll tell you what the colors mean. Your attention moves to the top of your head where she places a crown of fragrant roses. Are you feeling it? See if you can feel the weight of it on your head as the energetic space within your head opens up, expanding in all directions, free and clear. Finish your healing with the following affirmations said 3 times if possible. The Holy Mother Mary, who loves me unconditionally, blesses me with her crown of roses now. I see and I know the divine more in each and every moment. Through her grace, I am divinely successful, and I remember that I'm a royal divine being of light. Yellow, loyalty. Beautiful. Yellow is loyalty. Pink. I just bought beautiful pink roses today. How crazy is that? White roses, purity. Pink roses. I gotta look it up. I think it's heart chakra. It's kind of like rose quartz. You know what I mean? Any other colors? Hang on, I'm gonna look it up. Pink roses. Because 2 of you had the pink roses. Oh, great. Is this gonna open up? Hang on for a quick second, okay? I'm like trying to get my internet. This is crazy. My internet is, oh, okay. Hang on for a quick second. Bear with me. We had massive, that's why I couldn't do the reading yesterday or anything at all, because the internet, just the whole town where I lived, the internet went down. That's why I couldn't do anything yesterday. I was lucky to even post something on that. It was insane. Bear with me, okay? I'm going to see if I can get... Come on, guy. What the hell? I think rose quartz is like heart chakra, to be honest, okay? White is loyalty. Red is passion. Red is passion, right? We know that. So that's interesting. The photo is beautiful. Thank you. I feel like I know this, man. I know what you mean. Orange. Orange. What is orange? Orange would be more closer to the solar plexus. Not solar plexus. What am I saying? Sacral chakra. Sacral chakra. Okay? So more in the womb, in the womb chakra. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to get another oracle deck. So far, so good. Are you guys ready for another oracle reading? Yeah, for some reason, my computer, I need to like restart it because that is so weird. Let's see. Restart. Okay, let me look up. Okay, I got another deck. And any questions at all? Okay, cool. Stream Breeze. All right, let me see. Yeah, it looks like we had a freeze. Was it a freeze? Okay, yes, please. Great job. Okay, great. So let me go ahead. We got 24. Fantastic. We're getting, again, these cards are from Alana Fairchild. Every single deck I just read from, because she's my girl. I love her to pieces. She's one of the, to me, she's the greatest oracle writer. I'm not kidding, on the planet. I'm not, when I say that, I don't say it lightly, because I have over, I don't know, 70 decks, oracle decks, and goddess decks, this deck, you know, like, I'm not going to mention names, but suffice it to say, the most robust cards are always from Alana Fairchild. They're always from her. So, and I've noticed that they're selling out on TikTok. So if you look on my website, you'll see on my webpage that you'll see that I have, actually, this is not from the deck. Hang on. Fuck. Hang on, I'll be right back. I just realized I put one deck in the wrong box. So this is not Sacred Rebel. Bloody hell. Hang on, there it is. I just found it. Okay, and then I'm going to throw a couple little baby cards, which are really fun. But the deck that I'm pulling out is from the Medicine Heart. Again, Alana Fairchild. Medicine Heart. And then we'll do Sacred Rebel, because that's one of our oldest decks. Okay, so this is from Medicine Heart. You'll see a woman with a bear underneath her, 2 eagles, and a fox and birds, if you ever see the box, okay? Shamanic wisdom of the divine feminine. And divine feminine is intuition. All right, let's begin. When you're ready, top, bottom, or middle. Top, bottom, or middle. And then we'll do Sacred Rebel. And then I want to read something to you. Top, bottom, or middle. When you're ready. Top. Okay, I'll stop. Middle. Okay, middle. Okay, I'm going middle. Perfect. Okay, this is 31. We had 4 before. That was the last card we had, was number 4. Remember, taking on karma. In other words, kind of like the Little Mermaid, right? Giving up her voice to have legs. Remember that story? Taking on karma. So you coming into 3D, right? Like losing your consciousness so you guys could incarnate to do your work. So 31 is taking on karma. Is that 31? Yeah, it's 31. It's 4. That's the card. This is the number of the, what I call the volunteers. It's one of the ways to see it. And okay, it's called grib spraying. Consider the practices, places, and people that strengthen and brighten your spirit. These are treasures to be sought and protected in your life. You are worthy of well-being and happiness. You are encouraged to give yourself love, respect, and compassion. Be careful with your own heart. Treat your heart as the divine gem it is. Believe that you are worthy, and your heart shall most readily attract life's vitalizing magic and blessings to you. Shift from making to do, right? Building yourself up from within. You are destined to rise, thrive, and succeed. Grip spraying is a Tibetan term translating as pollution wolf. Grib refers to lower vibrational content. We may call it subjective negativity, as it refers to anything that pollutes your system. That will differ between people. One person may be able to tolerate or even thrive within a certain type of consciousness or lifestyle that would drain, diminish, and disrupt the energies of someone else. I'll give you an example of that. Did you hear that? That would drain the energy of someone else. Okay, some of you love to go to weddings, funerals, live music, activities. Some of us, that would drain the hell out of us. We would be completely drained. We could not handle the noise. Burning Man is off my list. Let's put it that way. But for some of you to thrive, Burning Man would just fire you up. Coachella would fire you up. Does that make sense? So that's what, in a way, they're talking about. Even when the same person at different phases in life and spiritual growth will find that tolerance for certain energies decreases whilst naturally increasing their comfort and pleasure in experiencing higher vibrational frequencies. Even if those energies may send less purified and prepared souls running for cover due to the stuff such energies will cause to surface. What it's saying is, have you ever seen kids that are like either on the autism spectrum or sensory spectrum, and they'll go into like a Save-On or like a Walmart, and they'll start shrieking. The lights, they're overwhelmed. They can't. And the minute you take them to a beautiful environment, they relax. And many of you are still like that. Like there's certain things you won't wear, clothes you won't wear. You can't stand it. And some people will feel that it's uncomfortable material, but they'll wear it because it gains attention. People give them compliments. So they'll keep wearing a dress that's scratchy or suit that's scratchy, but you'll fucking actually donate it or give it away to a friend. You won't wear it. You don't care if you get compliments from it. You will not pay the price for those compliments by being uncomfortable. Spraying refers to the spiritual wolf that devours defilements, just gobbles them up, and in doing so performs an inner and outer clearing. This is an animal totem that supports psychic digestion in service of spiritual awakening. Wolf soul medicine in this context provides a creative spiritual pathway to channel your appetites, desires, and needs in constructive ways. The spiritual methods to implement grib spraying is to apply these wolf energies intelligent towards diminishing that which undermines you and empowers that which strengthens you. Wolf is a great teacher, pathfinder, and trickster. Rather than locking yourself in a battle of willpower where you simply generate greater degrees of resistance, you can work creatively, stealthily, indirectly, and playfully with your mind, body, and soul, supported by the conscious wolf totem to actively generate new behaviors that give you a sense of fulfillment and joy. Gradually, the newfound pleasures that naturally accompany higher vibrational functioning supersedes the outmoded hungers for less soul-honoring ways of being. Dispense with thoughts of deprivation. Allow conscious wolf to devour such poverty consciousness. Your soul is gearing towards evolution into superior and sacred methods of satisfaction. When experiences of abuse leave a legacy of an unresolved trauma, the human brain, mind, heart, and soul needs time to heal. This is a good point. Did you hear that? The human brain, mind, heart, and soul needs time to heal. There's an old saying that time heals all wounds. And one of the best lines I've ever heard is, if time healed all wound, there would not be childhood trauma. So time clearly doesn't heal. When you experience a legacy of abuse, an unresolved trauma, you have to become hell-bent on finding out what happened to you, and then hell-bent on healing it, purging it, forgiving it, releasing it, transmuting it. You don't let time heal all wounds, because time is not doing shit. It's not going to fix itself. It can't. A sign that the healing is yet to be completed is that you will turn to that which cannot truly support and nourishing you to meet your needs. Yeah, this is an interesting. A sign that the healing is yet to be completed is that you will turn to that which cannot truly support and nourish you to meet your needs. What that means is sometimes you go backwards, and you might actually beat yourself up going, what the fuck am I doing? I'm going backwards. No, sometimes some of you, and I'm not talking about twin flames. This is not about twin flames. This is about souls. Sometimes you will go to a toxic lover or a toxic habit or a toxic job or a toxic parent, expecting different results, hoping for different results, hoping to get your healing from that source. And you will go back and get smacked again. And at that point, the healing starts, because at that point you're realizing, oh my God, I'm never going to get closure from these bastards. I need to give closure to myself. That's why I tell clients, yeah, closure, good luck. Closure is something you give yourself. You never let people give you closure. You give it to yourself, because I've heard too many women tell me, and men, well, I need closure. I need them to call me so we can get closure. No, bullshit. The closure is they're not calling you back. That's the closure. There you go. There's your closure. So now you continue the journey of completing what closure means to you. What does it mean? Releasing, ceremonious, cord cutting. You can't do cord cutting with a twin, on the side note, but with any high-level soulmate, karmic, whatever, yes, you can, and it will work. Let me just say, but don't do any crazy shit like voodoo tata cord cutting. Do a clean, clear cord cutting. Nothing evil, nothing crazy, just plain old good cord cutting. Your healthy need for love, for example, might be sought in toxic relationships or sublimated into addiction. In such cases, you may not realize that there is another option available to you. As the trauma is articulated and processed, your capacities to constantly make healthier choices will arise. No kidding. No kidding. Your capacity could, okay. Then your inner drives will naturally reorient towards practices that support you. One of the ways to facilitate the healing journey is to become aware of the pollutants of mind, body, and heart that has triggers for you, propelling you into reliving patterns of suffering. It's normal to go through a reorientation of toxic patterns. Sometimes massive shit will, you'll lose somebody you fucking love, okay, in a car accident, suddenly, out of nowhere. Or you'll lose your job and you'll say, you know what, maybe you haven't had a glass of wine in 5 years. And suddenly you go, fuck this, I'm buying a bottle, I'm so sick of this shit. And that's not the time to beat yourself up. It's the time for you to witness what's going on. With compassion. Absolute compassion. Or to call a guy or girl just for, one night, for a minute, knowing that they're toxic as fuck, and tasting the nectar of their body, and then realizing, oh my God, I thought this was nectar. I feel shit. I don't even want to complete the act. Sometimes you need the last rodeo before you can say goodbye for good, like closing the door. You need one last move. Sometimes it will take weeks, months, maybe even years. And then one day you'll have an aha moment going, I'm done here. And you'll get up and move away from that habit. It will just fall with ease, with surprising ease. Awareness of the effect of familiar unhelpful behaviors is an important step towards considering different ways of being. Exploring alternatives is the way to discover the support system that you trust enough to leave behind the familiar painful patterns of the past. Familiar patterns of the past. Where do these patterns come from? Well, I'll give you an example. So your mom was a drama queen and you're a man and you keep being attracted to drama queens. You're running from your twin who's stable, she's reliable as fuck, but you keep going for bimbos that are drama queens because you were hardwired, which you can snip, with work. You were hardwired to go for drama women. And so you're always in cortisol mode. You're always like you don't know what's going to happen next. And these relationships never last, right? So that is something, these tried and true patterns sometimes aren't even yours, in terms of you were a victim to your environment and to the most important people of your life, in this case would be your mother, you didn't know that you were actually constantly dating your mother, but you are. Does that make sense? Or your father. Does that make sense? Who was always cheating on your mother, for example. So now you're always cheating, thinking, well, all men cheat. No. You're playing out your dad's template. And you think it's yours. So you have to ask yourself, am I happy doing this? Because there are guys that are playboys. They're very happy. They're ignorant, but ignorance is bliss, And so you have to ask yourself, is this making me happy? Okay. Wolf is known for heightened senses, smell being one of them. Scent recognition in spiritual symbolism refers to the capacity to distinguish one thing from the other, to instinctive knowing and discernment. A piece of food may look fine, but your sense of smell might let you know that it has gone off. Smells tells the truth. When something doesn't smell right, it means that something is amiss and you need to take care of it. Let me tell you something. Quite often I ask women and men, do you like their smell? It's funny how primal we are. Do you like their smell? Because maybe in the beginning you liked their smell, but now you don't anymore. And usually when you don't like their smell anymore, I'm not joking when I say that, it's over. It's a matter of when. But if you don't like your current husband's smell or your wife's smell, you don't like their smell anymore, it's fucking over. Because what you'll notice is with your twin, if you have a twin in this case, you'll notice that you're fucking crazy over their smell. You're insane over their smell. And though primal, it's a primal truth, okay? All right, let's continue. Grib isn't always obvious. Sometimes we only learn the truth of something when we start to explore it. Wolf brings empowerment to the soul to restore and nourish your instincts, particularly that of discerning what resonates for you and what does not. If you have stumbled into a situation only to find that it is not what you have hoped, Wolf brings swiftness to express yourself and protect yourself without overreacting. There are opportunities masquerading as challenges in your life at present that will evolve into a more nourishing, happy, and healthy experience for you. For this to occur, you need to trust your judgment to sniff out how to best deal with the matter at hand, allowing reactivity to give way to intuitive wisdom. And what happens? What happens with 99% of the people? What happens? They'll look at intuitive wisdom, mistrust it, and run and go back into their monkey mind and go right back into allowing past patterns or new patterns that are going to be just as toxic. The white wolf is also known as the polar of Arctic wolf. It lives in the extreme Arctic regions of North America and Greenland, thriving at a location that suits it, but not many humans or other animals leaves white wolf relatively unthreatened by hunting and habitat destruction. The white color frequency is recognized as emanating pure spiritual vibrations in numerous religion and cultural traditions throughout Africa, the Americas, Europe, and the East. The white wolf teaches that in keeping your vibration high, you will sail above the grib and the chaos and clutter that tends to accompany it. Remaining relatively undisturbed, you can learn how to engage with any situation as needed without compromising your vibrational integrity. Remain in your spiritual truth and keep your heart and energy clear. The long-crested eagle dwells in sub-Saharan Africa, where wolves bring discernment through smell, eagles bring clarity through vision. Eagle's super sense is sight. So what's interesting about sight is that quite often we do not want to see what's in front of us. We have what they call rose-colored glasses. And the minute you take them off, I mean, it's fucking over. So the spiritual symbolism of sight is the ability to recognize things as they are, to have clarity and to cut through illusions or deception. Deception is also your self-deception. You deceive yourself. You betray yourself in seeing your mother, your father, your past lovers, your current lover, your job, your boss as how you want them to be. In other words, if somebody is abusing you, the last thing you should do is gaslight yourself on what's happening. And people do it all the time. And they think it's necessary. The combination of these heightened senses generate a tremendous spiritual awakening into clear perception, empowering the soul to determine what is spiritually hang on, I missed my spot here. Empowering yourself to was spiritually contradicting to your well-being with great precision. As you tune into your own body and mind, you notice the effect of various phenomena on your state of being. You will more readily acknowledge your issues and evoke self-healing. You will also sense when it is best to witness an energy dynamic or situation with lightness and detachment, choosing not to become entangled in it, taking care not to energize it with undue attention. Self-love is required to clear psychic pollution, and practicing respect for self and others empowers your practice of discernment. Practicing respect for self and others empowers your practice of discernment. If you are struggling to break free from a sticky situation, entanglements, or toxic relationship, the Oracle advises you to trust your intuition, because there is a better way available to you. Take a step back to see things clearly, pace yourself, sniff out your options, and seek supportive allies. Your heart will let you know when you are heading in the right direction with a feeling of joyful possibility, hope, and genuine love for yourself. I'm going to be blunt with you. Sometimes you guys don't have supportive allies. I'm just going to be blunt. And so you don't have them in 3D, but you have them. You have hundreds of them as light beings around you, and you're not tapping into them because you have no heart coherence. In other words, you are not actually trusting what your heart is saying, which is sad, because you actually have allies. You can say that again. Frenemies, exactly. And frenemies are bye-bye. It's a deal breaker. Bye-bye. I see you on the flip side of the moon, not in this incarnation. I'm done with you. Wolf and eagle are skillful hunters, and their medicine wisdom in your soul will ensure that you find what you need. Stay true to yourself and do not settle for anything less than what is best for your soul. Wow. So that was a lot. That was a lot to read. And Grib Sprangang. I mean, I can't even pronounce it. But the point is, what's interesting is that the status quo. Well, I've known them since I was 5. Well, they're a family. Well, they're my cousin. Well, it's my uncle, my aunt. I've known my aunt since I was born, clearly. She was 14 years old. She loved the shit out of me. And over the last 18 months, less than a year, sorry, we discussed what was happening in, I'm going to say in Gaza. And she supports what's going on in Gaza, unfortunately. And what that means is she supports the Geno, okay? And here was somebody who I loved my entire, she's a psychologist, by the way. And here was somebody I had loved my entire life. Like, that was my aunt, my aunt that lives in Paris and all that. And she's got a PhD, and she's got a master's in 18th century art, and massive respect. And when I saw her capacity not to have compassion, massive empathy, we're not talking anymore. We're not talking anymore because she was trying to push me to either neutralize my feelings about it, not even share my feelings about it. And it was like her way or the highway. By the way, she's an Aries, which is Emperor energy in tarot. And there was no way. It was like, either we can talk about with civility, and I can give you my points of view, and you can explain to me your points of view. And her answer, and this is a psychologist, said, if we talk about it, we're going to start yelling and screaming at each other. And that was it. That was the last time I spoke to her. And it wasn't because I hung up. It was because she hung up. Now, you can agree to disagree with civility. But even if you decide to do that with integrity, what do we talk about? Integrity. You will find that there will be people in their darkness, so entrenched in their darkness, that they're more interested in being right than having a relationship with you, which is the universe's sign is saying it's no longer a frequency match. We realize that it's your aunt in this incarnation, but she wasn't your aunt in multiple incarnations. In other words, don't get attached to the fucking lineage bloodline bullshit. Don't do that. It will harm you. Does that make sense? It's interesting too, because some mothers have no right being mothers, and they were massive narcissists. They were jealous of their daughters that they were raising. It happens all the time. And I'm not saying turn your back on your mom. I'm saying at some point, even if it's on her deathbed, it's never too late. But if you have an opportunity to make peace and to forgive them, then I suggest you do so. But when somebody will refuse to talk to you, sometimes all you can do is be there on their way out of this planet, on their way out of this body. And that's when you can do a massive healing. And it's really to your benefit, believe it or not. Why is it a benefit? Because you get to own the moment, offer yourself sacred space in them, and correctly say what you need to say, right? With compassion, with respect, and say, I forgive you and I forgive myself, and I release you. And that karma is now fucking done for probably thousands of incarnations. You really want to do that. Touchy subject, but true. There are many touchy subjects that you're going to have to experience as you go through this ascension process. Okay, so the next one I told you would be Sacred Rebel, so we're going to do that. Any questions or comments? Thank you, Yessie, for being such a beautiful part of the Gabrielle and all of you. Any questions or comments? Anyone want to share? How did I trigger you, or how did this trigger you? Any questions? Okay, so let's go into the next setup, and the cards are top, bottom, or middle, top, bottom, or middle, and let's begin. Okay? Thank you. You're welcome. When you're ready, right, left, or middle. I mean, top, bottom, or middle. Top, bottom. Okay, I'm going to stop. Top. Okay. I've had issues my whole life with my adopted mom. This spoke to me. Thank you. Good. I'm glad, because you don't be ashamed. You're not alone. There are fucking libraries filled with books on daughters and mothers, because it's one of the most fucked up. Can be. You're either gonna have an amazing connection with your mom or not fucking at all. It's that simple. Okay, so we got bottom and top. We got 2. I need one more. How many tops? Yeah, I need one more to break the tie. Top, bottom, or middle? Top, bottom, or middle? Yeah, I need one more to break the tie. Hopefully you can. Bottom. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Listening for truth, 36. So 36 is the number 9, is the top. We're done. So I got it. I just did it. 36 for listening to truth. That was bottom. So 36, listening for truth. This is a girl. It's a beautiful charcoal, like painting like. She's got a nautilus shell against her ear. Her eyes are closed. She's in the abyss. It looks like the abyss. And she's listening for something beyond what she sees. Beautiful piece of artwork. Okay, so okay, so this is 36. 36, 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 is a master number. Okay. Truth speaks to us constantly, but not always in words. It may communicate through a feeling that is hard to put into words, but brings an inexplicable sense of peace, trust, and the knowledge that somehow everything is going to work out perfectly, even if there's little evidence of how it is all going to happen. Yeah, there's what it's called the unspoken knowing. You get a hit that, like, you're shocked sometimes that you're not freaking the fuck out. You're like, it's gonna work out, and they're like, people are freaking around you, or typically you would have freaked out under this condition, right? But there's a massive calmness, and you're like, and you're witnessing your monkey mind going, what the fuck? Why aren't you freaking out? But your heart, your body, like, it's going to be fine, and you can't put it into words. It's beautiful when that happens. You are asked to listen for the truths beneath the words rather than the superficial message of the words themselves. Let me say it again. You are being asked to listen for the truth beneath the words rather than the spiritual message of the words themselves. This is interesting. Because when somebody's out to fuck you, they might smile in your face and say the right words, but your whole body's rebelling, going, this is wrong, this is wrong. A man might love you, but he might not love you with words, but with his fingertips, his eyes, his lips, his touch, the way he makes you perfect coffee, the way he irons your dress, or makes sure that the bed is made when you get home from work, and he makes sure that you have a tub waiting with rose petals or whatever. But he never says how much you care. You matter to him, but he shows you, right? He shows you with action. That's really important, because you see, I'll adore you with Dior or Louis Vuitton or Chanel bag is not the same of what I've just described. In other words, for someone who has a lot of money, a Chanel bag, a Dior bag, he probably had ordered like 5 of them for different chicks. How do I know this? Because when I was a kid in my 20s, very early 20s, I would have these men walking in for Valentine's Day and drop, like, I don't know, at the time, $500 on 6 different heart-shaped, like, I don't know, 5-6 pound Godiva chocolate for each of the chicks they were chasing. It meant nothing. And yet the little boy that came in, meaning he was 23, but all he could afford was a little, like, he'd choose 4 pieces of chocolates and make sure it was wrapped in a beautiful ribbon and pay that extra $4 for that flower made out of silk. He was doing it for one woman, the one only woman he loved. It was one of the greatest jobs I ever got, because I got to see what Valentine's really meant. You can tell when a man truly loves you, and you can tell when they don't. We are often in denial. Right on. Right on. Exactly. Let me continue. This is especially true for the communications of those around you, the press, the newspapers, and the mass media. You will begin to hear fear in the world and words and actions of those around you, even as they preach love. Listen deeper. Listen for the truth. This is interesting, because you're listening to people in the political arena right now talking to us about how they're going to kumbaya and do this, that, and the other. What's interesting, if both people, there are two people right now running, right? This is perfect. Running for office, right? We know what we're talking about here. And both of them have been in the White House, both of them. And I'm not going to get political today, though I do that often. Both of them have had the opportunity to end poverty. Both of them have not. Both of them had the opportunity to maintain Roe versus Wade. One did not. You have to start asking yourself the right questions. So it's not what they say. It's what they do when they have power. When a man or woman loves you. It's what they do. And in some cases, yes, what they say. Okay? This oracle comes with a message of truth for you. You are hearing something that is not being said, and what you are hearing is truthful. You may feel as though you are the only one that is really ready to hear or see it. Perhaps you have been working in a situation or loving in a relationship where truth is constantly denied. Truth is constantly denied. We live in a world where truth is frequently avoided out of fear that it may reveal. Did you hear that? Let me say it again. We live in a world where truth is frequently avoided out of fear of what it might reveal. Yeah. We've seen abuse, childhood abuse going in generation of families because grandma, whoever didn't want to fucking talk about it. Because suddenly now they have to go, they have to call the police and realize that the spouse they thought was normal is deviant. There are all kinds of reasons why people deny what they plainly see in front of their nose. And it's based out of fear and egoism and fear of being alone. Oh my God, but he's all I got. Well, dude, there's deviancy here. It's not okay. And you'd be amazed at how many people pull this shit and gaslight little children. And tell them to shut the fuck up. That everything in the family stays in the family. Shit like that. Generational trauma. Okay? At the basis of actions, consciously or not, is a deep sense of unhealed toxic shame. Right on. Toxic shame. Exactly. Unhealed toxic shame. If you or someone else is fearful that the truth will expose rather than free and heal, then some personal healing is required. Yes, because it doesn't matter if they told you it didn't happen to you. Doesn't matter. You tell them, I know what happened to me. And some of them might say, oh my God, baby, I don't know. I wasn't there for you. And some of them might say, no, it never happened. You're a liar. And you know what? The point is, no, I'm not a liar. It happened. And I don't give a fuck if you believe me or not. But now you know I know. Live with that. And walk away, because what you have to do is take that fucking rock out of your heart chakra and hand it to them. And if they won't take it, then drop them at their feet and fucking turn. That's it. That's that. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's continue. If you or someone else is fearful that the truth will expose rather than free and heal, then some personal healing is required. It is time for letting go of old wounds in favor of a greater sense of self-love and acceptance. And before you can accept self-love, you got to advocate for that little girl, little boy. That's you being your own mommy and daddy and going, mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa, Uncle Joe, Aunt Melba, I don't give a shit who it is. You fucking drop that rock at their feet. If they won't take it, you leave it there. You leave it there. You're being asked to love yourself enough to honor the truth. Even if you feel like, I'm sorry, it's like, I had a client today who told me that her twin had been, molested, SA'd as a child, a boy. And she, no offense, God bless her, she'll probably hear it, she's naive. Because she said, well, I mean, it was almost like a sense of not realizing that a lot of men carry that in them. It's not just women that have gone through that. It's a massive amount of men. And their unhealed root chakra abuse is something they carry silently, It's why they're addicted to all kinds of weird ass shit. Because they can't even speak it. Because if they speak it, it would be like a Pandora's box, and the howling coming out of their mouth may never end. And that's why they run from it and run from you, because if you're a twin flame, you're activating that shit, my friend. Does that make sense? Yeah, wow. You are being asked to love yourself enough to honor the truth, even if you feel you are the only one doing so. Sacred rebels needs truth like lungs need oxygen. Truth keeps the energy of life flowing through the rebellious heart. Lies dampen the spirit of the sacred rebel. Even if those less awakened hearts fear the truth, you must not turn away from it. Don't resent the state of affairs. Perhaps your job is to show that truth can be witnessed even when many may want to hide from it. What others do is always their choice, but through your honorable deeds, done with integrity, what did we do? You better watch this whole live. Done with integrity, you will be set free no matter what the outcome. It doesn't matter. What does that mean? It doesn't matter if they believe you. It's not about them believing it. It's about you releasing it. If you know your mom's a narcissist or your father or whoever, right? You hand it back to them and you fucking walk. That's the beginning. That's you activating power into self-worth. It's you releasing massive stones out of your root chakra, sacral chakra, hara chakra, it's like a fucking implosion that collapses everything. It's a tower moment for you. But then after that, you build a brand new structure with your own two hands, not with the fuckery and the dogmatic belief and the rhetoric that was in your family lineage. That's how you feel you heal family lineage. Does that make sense? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, let me see. Let me read this. I'll step forward because I'm one of those men. You have no idea how many men. You're not just one of those men. You're the number. I'm just gonna straight up. In my twins' family, all the boys, all 4 boys, had to deal with that. Thank you, Catholicism. Thank you, altar boys. Yeah, all 4. All 4. Okay? And we're talking the 1950s when no one talked about this shit. No one was talking. Oh, no, Monsignor would never do that. Mother blah, blah would never do that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You are a truth seeker. Never deny or try to quiet this down to make others comfortable. You are meant to be an agitator at times, even though you don't have to confront people to do it. You don't necessarily have to say a word, though sometimes you will. In my opinion, you should. Because if you keep that shit in your throat chakra, you will never have the power of self-expression, because that stone will go from your root down into your throat. You need to let that shit go. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them. Let them figure this shit out. And don't expect apologies. Don't expect repairs. You better not. Closure is you give yourself closure. You don't let anyone own that. It's yours. It's yours. Don't ever have anyone have a sword of closure over your head. They don't call back. Good. Closure. They don't want to love you. Good. Closure. They don't believe you. Good. Closure. It's all closure, my friend. That is what closure is. Silence is the answer that you're seeking. Well, I really want them to... No, they're not going to explain it to you. Do you understand? Don't wait for that shit. Forget it. Often you will agitate in the most loving sense by unveiling truth simply through your knowing. Hold compassion for the truths you behold. Do not use them as knives to cut another or yourself with harshness, but as the clear insight that allows one to loosen the knots that bind simply by knowing which threads gently tug. What does that mean? It means you go to your mother or your father and they say that it couldn't happen, and you might get triggered by that, but don't be surprised, because they will feel as if they're so responsible that they fucked up. They left you with someone they shouldn't have left you, or they allowed someone in the house like the babysitter. I had a client who was 5 years old, and it was a male babysitter who was 19, and the mommy wanted to give extra money to the kid, and while the kid was doing what he was doing to this 5-year-old kid. Okay, just saying. Okay? No answer is the answer. That's right. Thank you for the love. Okay, let me continue. So what she means by do not use them as knives to cut another or yourself with harshness. What that means is it's not a fighting match. It's not a going back and forth yelling and screaming and calling them MFers. You know? It's you simply stating facts with the cool calmness that you would. You might be shaking your boots. You might be trembling in rage. But try to breathe into your heart chakra and ask the angels to guide your throat chakra so it's at most potency. So that when they do their fuckery, because you're going to, I mean, honestly, if they come clean and go, I'm really sorry, that's a shot. That's like a win. But I mean, good luck. This oracle brings you guidance. If you have been worn down and depressed by the lies, gossip, deceit, or backstabbing going on around you, don't fret. Get out in nature. Spend some time communing with the infinite. Healing will come to you now, no matter how many times, in how many ways, or by how many tongues untruth is spoken. You know what you know in your sacred, rebellious heart. That truth is your connection to the living truth of life itself. Don't just give up. Just open up to healing and know that the truth always eventually prevails. Wow. Wow. I'll be right back. Wow. That was a lot of blocked energy. Sorry. Okay. So the breath, the throat chakra. It's revolting energy. And some of you are holding it in. Some of you are afraid. When you're an empath, you feel other people's blocks, pains. I can't get graphic, but one of you knows what this is about. You know who you are, because I've talked about this subject many, many times. But there's someone out here listening to this live that is blocking a truth in their throat chakra, and it's revolting. It's gagging them. It's harming their ability to express and to allow those who were responsible to hear it, even if they won't admit to it. So, thank you, love. Thank you. So, it's heavy. It's not easy. Yeah. What I want you to do, whoever you are, is to work on primal chanting, primal singing. Work on all your chakras. Do the guided meditation, purging past lovers and predators, only once. Do it only once. Then, before you ever open up to this discussion with whoever is responsible, I need you to do primal singing, primal chanting. Does that make sense? I'm not talking about punching the pillow. I'm talking about wailing, primal, feeling. A good, I'm actually going to type it out for you guys. I want you to look up Anyone Can Sing. And the reason why I'm asking you to go on YouTube and look this up, Anyone Can Sing, by Nessie Gomez, is because for you to find your voice and to clear this bullshit, you want to make sure that you've worked on your throat chakra to speak truth. Because it felt as if, again, I don't want to be graphic, but it felt as if something had been shoved in my throat. And I'm not sure who this is for. That doesn't mean I don't cough, but I'm not sick. And it came out of nowhere. So when you're an empath, you feel shit, and you feel it viscerally, physically. And it's emotional. If you notice, when I started reading it, I started crying because I know, because I had flashbacks of my twins' family, which includes him, but also I had flashbacks of my clients, male clients, women clients, but also male clients who were not believed. They were not believed, and it fucked them up. It doesn't, what if you passed already? I hope that you can send him that. I don't know how long he's passed. It really doesn't matter because time is not linear. I would say connect with him and say, I forgive yourself, my love. Please forgive yourself. When my twin was in his deathbed, once we got the diagnosis of brain cancer, there were two things I would do every day. I would come to him in the morning, excuse me, and I would say, good morning, I'm so glad you're here. And the second thing I would start talking to him about is forgiveness. because shaming, because everyone who goes through this kind of experiences is going to react to it differently. Absolutely differently. Excuse me, I'll be right back. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that, because that's important. So everyone's going to go through it differently. Some people are going to become very timid and shy. And some people are going to be very brash and charismatic, and they're going to be players. Some people are going to be probably have a handful of lovers. Some people are going to have 50 lovers. Some people are going to be cruel, and not cruel because they were born cruel, but there's a cruelty. They want to lash out at someone. And some people will allow others to be cruel to them. But one of the things they all have in common is that something, when they were very innocent, was breached by adults or even children that should have known better, you know? And thank you for the love. And it is so prevalent. It is so unbelievably prevalent. And people think that this is new. No, it's new that we talk about it. When I was a kid, there was a joke that the reason why the reason why they made chocolate in Belgium was wink wink. Did you get my direct? Did you get what I'm saying? In other words, there were people experiencing this through generations and generations and generations, going to the same parishes, same temples for fucking decades. And nothing was said. Nothing was done. And every person in that family would come out differently, similar experience, different approach to life. You know? I'll give you an example. One of his brothers was you could look at him and see he was a poet. And he became a heroin addict. And he met Amma. You know who Amma is? Some of you don't. She's a Hindu woman who is known to give hugs that are so transcendental that you're healed. So his brother, one of his brothers, a third brother, went to Amma, got the healing hug. And he eventually and immediately went back to get off heroin and to start taking the whatever the hell they give you to get off heroin. And unfortunately, it impacted his liver with the big C, and he died at a very young age. He was under 60. Another brother had throat cancer. Okay, big C again, and he was volatile, rude, deviant, and scandalous, and cruel. Another brother is still talking about it because he wasn't protected by his father. My twin did not come to terms with it until he was in his 70s. This shit is real. And women need to start understanding why men are so wounded, fucked up, broken, addicted, self-destructive. Okay? And the difference between a woman and a man, in its fundamental reality, is that we all talk about it. We all seek therapy like animals. We're like, fuck this, I want to heal. And we have friends we can talk about for years, decades. We'll always talk about it and purge new layers of shit. Whereas men don't do that for the most part. Okay? Excuse me. But what I found, and I could tell you stories. I mean, I'm not even going to go into details, but my godfather, Nick, his name was Nick, same as my husband. And it happened to him when he was 8. A babysitter. Babysitter stories. So by the time I had a son, you can imagine that the last thing I was going to do was have any babysitter ever babysit my kid. Number one. I would never let any family relative babysit my kid. Never. Never trust anyone. And so for years, me and my husband never had a date night. Years. It was insane. But it was more important for us to make these kinds of, choices than to have the drama and trauma that would ensue from a selfish one night of dinner. Oh, yeah, it's date night for Thursdays. I've met a lot of couples who used to do that, and they're divorced today, so it makes no fucking difference. If you're going to divorce, you're going to divorce. I was married 27 years, and, eventually the marriage ended. Date night or not, it made no difference. I'm not joking. So when there's a expiration date to a marriage, it will expire. But my point is that our son has a couple things. There's no doubt that happens but one of the things I can say is that that's not one of them. Okay, I couldn't even let him go into public restrooms alone. I never let my kid go into public never. I remember I had a woman come up to me and say, "Oh, my son will take your son into." I laughed in her face. I laughed in her face and I said, "I don't know what kind of freak your son is. I would never let my son go into the bathroom." My son was 12. I didn't care. And there was a point where my son wanted to go into a men's bathroom, and I'd be right there, making sure all the men were gone. I'd say to my son, "Is anyone else?" And I'd peek in. Sometimes I'd walk in. I was bold. I didn't care. I'd walk in and I made sure that there was no feet in the stalls. making sure there was no one in there, and I'd be at the door. And if a man wanted to come in, I'd stop him at the door and say, I'm sorry, my son's there, he has to wait. And he'd get in my face, and I'd get in his face back, and usually I won. Actually, I always won. I always won. Because I was not going to have anyone tell me that they were safe. I hate to say it, but that's how it goes. And so that was because of the stories I've heard over the decades of the work I do. Because of it. So it's a real problem, my friends. And many of your twins that are running and chasing and ducking and dodging and they're addicted, it's one of the reasons is that. Typically 9 times out of 10. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it together. Any questions or comments? But I like that you couldn't do that. What if... Okay, so you got that answer. Yeah, any other questions or comments? And I'm sorry about the coffee and hacking, whatever, but wow. There's somebody out there. You got to work on all your chakras, but work on your chakras. I know I'm going to work on mine after I finish this live. That's for damn sure. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. Damn near every woman and man has gone through it. Damn near. And so 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. They've gone through something like that. And it's absolutely horrific. And that's why I'm a big sex advocate, because I figure you're better off teaching your babies everything they need to know at age appropriate levels, so that some predator doesn't do it for you. Does that make sense? Because then you leave your child at the whim. Look at P. Diddy. Look at P. Diddy. Look at all these people. You know, pizza parties. What was it? Song of Freedom. Everyone was crying. I never went to see that movie. I didn't need to. I didn't need to see what is out there. The movie Taken by Liam Neeson. I could tell you stories that will blow your mind, and I can't on this live at all. Some of the fuckery by the elite is even more frightening than you could ever imagine. David Icke talks about it. He talks about it to some, I mean, pretty extensively. And it's time for us to just pull out the bullshit, like tear off the roof off this shit and completely expose it and shame the fuck out of people like that. Like P. Diddy, massive predator, like you know, A1 predator. We've been talking about pizza parties, panda parties, you know, panda. And let's not act like we don't know what's going on. It's been going on for centuries. Centuries. And a lot of the people there's a trickle-down effect. And the religious orders have used their platform to go undetected for centuries and have fucked up entire generations. So it's not a family curse you're healing, my friend. It's family trauma. It's massive root chakra trauma, if you get my drift. That's what you're healing and exposing. All right, any other questions or comments? I can't even look at his face. Sad to hear that. I couldn't even, okay. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely, Paul, you know me. So any questions or comments on that? I mean, P. Diddy, gosh, shit, fuck, I wish I could spit this out. P. Diddy, what he did to Justin Bieber, you know, when I knew something was up, when I knew his time was over, when he went public with this little Caucasian girl who looked like she was 13 or 14 years old, with his arms around her like she was his property, talking about he had just adopted her. Do you remember that? Do you remember that scene? And she was looking around, trying to smile, very uncomfortable, but he had just adopted her. I really don't even know if he had adopted her. I really don't. But if he actually went through court circuit to adopt this child, the minute I saw that video, I was like, they're going to go after him. He went too far. As long as he kept it in the dark. He could have gone on for another 10 years because people are just dumb and they don't want to say shit. But when he came out with that, and Justin Bieber, those two innocent children, because he was a child, that was it. It was a matter of time. But that little girl came out when he's just pissed someone off. I'm not sure why I was picking up on that, but I was picking up on that. and when I saw that video, it was late last year, excuse me. It must have been October. 1 year ago. So last year. And I've never liked him. It puts in question J-Lo. It puts in question Oprah. In other words, it puts in question all these people who so many thought were a success. The last thing I'm going to share with you is a conversation I had with my son about success, about the nature of success. A psychic I know calls Bieber an angel. I don't even know how. I've never heard Bieber sing in my entire life. I don't even know what the fuck he sings. I don't know what he sounds like, so I can't even comment. All I know is I saw videos of him talking, and he looks like somebody who was absolutely root chakra destroyed. Okay, that $200 million or whatever the hell he was given, it wasn't worth it. But I remember my son making a comment about success. And we have been taught that success is money. And so at some point I'll make a live about that. but and I apologize for this. This is insane. But what I found interesting was that my son was like, well, they're successful, and dad wasn't successful because he wasn't making money. And I said, no, but your dad had integrity. The problem is he had been hurt when he was a child. He had been hurt. You get what I'm saying when I say hurt, right? He had been SA'd. And because of that, he was an alcoholic from the time he was like 14, 15 years old, drinking. Needing to drink so he could cope. And my twin took every DRUG, legal and illegal, you can imagine, until he finally one day settled on pot. And that was his only thing he took, pot. But if you put anything in front of him, he would take it. And the reason why, because the pain. He couldn't handle the pain. And he never had any depression until he started getting more sober. And then he had to see what he was running from. And your average man, and this is something you need to understand as a divine feminine. The average man who's addicted is not just addicted because of the fuck of it. He's addicted because he's running from something. And the question is, what is he running from? Okay? The question is always, what is he running from? Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it. And when did it happen? And how often did it happen? So Justin Bieber is wonderful in that he tried his best to express what he was going through. But because there's such a weird masculine secret society silence about these experiences, we act like we don't know what the hell these young men are talking about. Well, now we do, because now it's out. And what's going to happen in the trial is, if you think Cosby was bad, Cosby was a walk in the park. Cosby was like a joke compared to what this is. The Epstein situation is a joke. Now, when you look at the list of people who went on those planes, the frequent flyer mile club that went to Epstein's Island, I can tell you the question would be, how many times did they go? Because some of them went thinking they were just going on a party once. And once they realized what the fuck it was, they never went back. No, because that's going to make me cough even more. I'll do it after I'm done. And so what I would do if I were you is look at how many times did they come. And what's interesting, when I find it, they're just putting names, right? But they're not putting, at least that's my understanding, because I haven't really looked at this. They're not putting how many times they went on the flight. That is the red flag. to me, a white flag is, wait, hang on, he went once and never went back. So he must have walked in, she, seen what it was about, and basically said, yeah, not fucking doing it. And because the elites are so elite, and there's a caste system to elites, some elites can't say shit because they're a lower level of elites. There's, like I said, a caste system, and they can't say anything. Because you guys would, not you, but many would say, oh, it's a conspiracy theorist. He's jealous. She's jealous. They're trying to make money, this, that, and the other. Well, some of the reason why some of them were trying to make money is to protect themselves, because once you blow the whistle, you better have some money so you can live somewhere else and kind of hide yourself in Costa Rica or Peru or Switzerland or whatever. You're going to need to move and change your life. I mean, obviously you're going to need money once you blow the whistle on one of these characters. So what's interesting and what's happening right now in the planet is that for many decades, we had the individual family dynamics, or don't ask, don't tell, be silent, shut up. You keep that in the family. And now it's become globalized. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Isn't it? And it's massively healing. So now no one's asking for an apology, but we're asking for it to all be exposed and the corruption allowed open in the air. And that should give you courage. And you will feel it. You will feel it if that's your twin story. It may not be your twin story. Just I said like 4 out of 5. So 1 out of 4 hasn't gone through, thank God, hasn't gone through this experience. Thank the bloody God. But many of them are, and just like grape, since we have to use fruit for that fucking traumatic word and experience, many who have gone through that, many will never report it. I had a girlfriend who was very much in her masculine energy. That happened to her when she was 21. She didn't say shit until we did the womb healing circle, and that was the first time. She had held that in her for 37 years. She was in her deep 60s when she came out and said, I haven't spoken of that since it happened. I told my girlfriend who was there when it happened to us, don't fucking ever say it ever happened. Don't ever say that shit. And so it was a bonded secret, a dark secret. And when we did the womb healing, she fucking let it all out. It was the first time she had unlocked the vaults of that shame, unlocked the rage of that shame, that powerlessness. And so for the masculine, you got to be psychic. You got to really tap in telepathically to your twin. If he's a masculine, this has happened. But they may not tell you. They may deny it. And one of the things I'll never forget I did is I left 2 long WhatsApp voice notes expressing very emotionally what I knew had happened to him and describing it. He heard it. And when our next conversation came, he was soft as hell, gentle and tender, vulnerable as hell, but he never mentioned it to me, and I knew that he could not handle that truth. Not now. He didn't handle that truth until I think almost a year later, and he told me without telling me, I went through some massive shadows and ghosts. There were ghosts that were always there, but I never saw them until I came back to blah, blah, blah. And I sat with myself the whole entire summer and fall and realized and purged and rocked into the pain. And it was at that point we were ready for physical union. We were in union talking all the time, but physical union. And that was the final, the final leg of the journey. I mean, it was, because then after that he was diagnosed, like 6 months later, he was diagnosed with brain cancer. And the journey continued with the learning. Remember, if you've watched this live from the beginning, what did women say? A lot of content creators, oh yeah, you're not his mother. No lover, no real man wants you to be his mother. But you're there to give sacred space to trauma that has been unhealed, unspoken of for decades. And it is your job, if that's your twin, to give them sacred space and to show them the fucking exit door. so they can walk out of that room that has kept them shackled in darkness and shame and self-loathing for decades, so that they can go step onto the platform of ascension. It's your job if you want it. If you don't, and you want to just, I'm off that journey, then you got free will. Go for it. And no one's going to blame you. No one's going to hate you. There's no issues. Does that make sense? Good night, Yessie. Thank you again. Okay, so love you, Tony. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Talk to you. Good night. So does that make sense? So it's very important that if you have an idea, then yeah, you may want to step into your own meditation, feel it, ask your guides, send your little girl to their little boy, or, you know, if you're gay, your same-sex gender, whatever, the inner child to the other inner child, and say, did this happen to them? Show me as much as you can. And then don't describe details. Just say, I know what happened to you. Now it all makes sense. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. And really speak from your heart. Really go deep, deep into your heart, and really let your heart speak through your throat chakra. So when they listen to it, and that's what's cool about voice notes, they can hear it again and again. And once they know you accept them fully in all their experiences, that's the beginning of union. And lasting union, if that makes sense. Any questions or comments? Okay. Thank you for sharing the live, Polly. Any questions or comments? I would read more, but I can't because my throat is raw. So, all right. So if you have anything to share, let me know. But all of you who are sacred masculines, just understand that I could tell you stories after stories after stories of divine masculines that could have had it all. And that very secret, that very experience fucked them up for decades. So the sooner you heal that shit and you let it go, the sooner you can step into your power. That's really the goal. Okay? Rest well, Tony. Thank you. Okay? All right, my loves. Sending you much love on your journey. Unfortunately, with all the hacking and coughing, I'll have to upload it as it is because it's part of it. I hope you understand. Thank you, Tony. Be well. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Much love to you all. Namaste. Be well.